Spectrovision Radio.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming. My name is John Nye, and I'm a senior programmer here, and I'm very happy to welcome you to Cinema Café, presented by Audible, to welcome you to the Filmmaker Lodge, and to our Beyond Film programming, and to this live episode of Visitations, in which Elijah Wood and Daniel Noah visit the homes and workshops of some of their favorite artists, creators for intimate conversations about the relationship between their lives and their art. I'm going to say one quick word before I get into it. I'm going to ask that you don't do live recordings. If you look at those cameras there, they're really good, and they're recording, and it's all going to go up online. So if you want to remember what someone said, it'll be there for you. I want to thank Elijah and Daniel for coming. It's very fitting that they bring this to the Filmmaker Lodge, which has in its own way, over 3 decades or so that we've come to this space, been a home to artists during the festival. The intimacy of this room, the warmth of you, the audience, and the binding idea that conversation about cinema and the work in the program is what sets this experience apart, this experience of being at a festival, and that's what this space is all about. For almost 20 years, I programmed panels and conversations at the festival. I think I probably programmed 200 conversations in this space. It certainly feels like a home to me. And I can't even begin to list the people who have been in this room over that time: filmmakers, public figures, musicians, artists, documentary subjects. So before we start, I want to express, my gratitude to this space, which has been, I think, really meaningful to a lot of people, and I know some of you have been coming over the years. I also want to thank my colleague, Anya Czebiotowska, who programs this. Who programs the panels now, to Boji Wong and her incredible staff at this venue, to my colleague, Glenn Pease, who has been the panel's producer of these things for many, many years. To Alex Hollowell, who is somewhere on our artist relations staff, takes such good care of our panelists. The conversation that we were having today is part of our legacy program during the second half of the festival, and that is a program that celebrates the festival's history here and the legacy of Robert Redford. And as part of that, we've been screening a lot of repertory titles. We screened Little Miss Sunshine, Mysterious Skin, American Dream, House Party, Kronos. There have been some great screenings, and one of those screenings is something that landed here in the Midnight section in 2004, and that was Saw from filmmaker James Wan. That was a film that genuinely launched a franchise and a career and an entirely fresh subgenre of horror, and it plays again tonight at 9 p.m. at the Ray. James is an Australian producer, screenwriter, and director who, having directed Saw, created Billy the Puppet, went on to direct Dead Silence, Death Sentence, Insidious, The Conjuring, The Furious 7, and a lot of other films. We're really grateful to welcome also the hosts of Visitations. Daniel Noah is a co-founder of Spectrovision, NYU Tisch grad, Sundance veteran producer of Mandy, Girl Walks Home Alone at Night, Cooties, The Greasy Strangler, Bitch, and last year's Rabbit Trap. And Elijah Wood, a partner and creative director at Spectrovision, who's been behind films like Girl Walks Home Alone at Night, Mandy, Rabbit Trap, and of course, as an actor in a broad range of work from Lord of the Rings, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, to Wilfred and Yellow Jackets. And I'm really, really grateful for them being here and being part of this last program here at the Filmmaker Lodge. So I'm going to welcome them all up.
Wow, I'm genuinely so emotional by that. John, thank you. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
We were teasing about James needing a tissue, but it was us.
It was us
Yeah.
that needed a tissue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome.
I'm honored. Just found out that I'm going to be the last one
Yeah.
here at Cinema Café at Park City.
Yeah.
So I'm truly, truly honored, and I'm very grateful that all you guys are here to join us. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you for coming out this morning.
Yeah. Thanks.
And welcome back to Sundance. Is this your first time since Saw? Is that what you were saying?
Yes. I have not been back to Sundance since I came here with Saw 22 years ago. But let me explain. Okay, so Lee Winnell, who I made Saw with, we kind of had this pact, which was way back when we were back in Australia, back in Melbourne, when we were starting out trying to make movies and stuff like that. We've always said we will only go to film festivals if we can go to one with a movie we made. So we want to go to a festival with a movie, with a reason, right?
Purpose.
A purpose, right? And so I guess I haven't made another movie that was
for a festival.
There was festival, yeah. I mean, they're all, all the movies I've made after Saw were very mainstream and very multiplexes, if you will.
Sure.
And so I haven't
That's
had
not
a
a bad
reason.
thing, James. It's all right.
You would know, Elijah. So now I'm back to Sundance with a movie.
Yes.
But it's the same movie that I brought here 22 years ago.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
I love that rule, though, like not going to a festival unless you've got a purpose and something to bring.
Yeah, but
and sticking to that.
But at the same time,
Very
I feel
sweet.
like I'm missing out on seeing all these great movies as well, right? That get premiered
It is
at this
pretty fun to
festival.
be here as a patron, I must say, just
Yes.
watching movies.
That is very true.
It's pretty rad.
Yeah.
Does it feel like it was 22 years ago, or does it feel like it was more recent?
No, it felt like a lifetime ago.
Really?
Yeah, it felt like it feels like it feels like a very different time. I was so young and naive when I came here. It was my very first film festival, and it was my very first movie as well. It was, Lee and myself, it was our first movie right out the gate. We were very fortunate that our first movie out of the gate was a movie like Saw, to go on to do what it did. And and so I guess, lucky for us, a lot of things have happened since then. So you really feel like quite a while ago, yeah. And so, I had a day off yesterday, so I just walked around town just trying to soak it in and just reminiscing of just locations. I'm like, I remember coming to this cafe shop. I remember this business. It's still here, so it's pretty amazing.
What do you remember about what it felt like then?
My memories of 2004 here at Sundance was just how nervous we were. That's my only memory I think I have, was how nervous we were. We were here. We were so young. I think I was 26 or 27.
Oh my God, man.
We were super young and super naive, and we were terrified. We felt like we had made this small little indie movie that we thought were going to go straight to video, but fortunately for us, an incredible festival like Sundance wanted to play our film, and here we were, and we could not sit through the movie when we screened it at the Egyptian, and so we were literally outside in the lobby just pacing back and forth.
Was it a midnight
biting our
film?
nails.
Was it a midnight screening?
It was a midnight screening, yes. Yeah.
So what was it like when the movie let out?
When the movie finished?
Yeah, describe that
Like-
experience.
And did you do a Q&A after? the
Yes,
film?
we did do a Q&A, yes. I again, nervous. We were a nervous wreck. Going up there to going out on stage to do the Q&A at the end of the movie. I think it was, by the end of, a midnight screening, it's like 2:00 in the morning, right? So, but
Did you feel like you had a sense of how it went in that moment? Or were you still trying to read the room?
We kind of peeked our head in at high points during the movie to see how it played, and of course we had to come in to see how the ending played, right, with the big twist ending that we had, and usually, generally without fail, that ending always get people, and so it was a good experience, a good feeling to just have caught that little moment with the audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this was the first place that it had played anywhere? So there was nothing, no screenings in Australia?
No, this was, Sundance was our premiere. It was the premiere of the film.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, thanks for doing this. And I guess this is like weirdly though, we are in the same circles. This is really the first substantive conversation we've had with you.
is.
I know. I feel like we run in the same circle,
Yeah,
and
for
we've
sure.
never really kind of had the chance to catch up till now.
I know, this is so lovely.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
We get to do it in front of everyone.
Everybody, yeah. So I've got a bone to pick with you.
Oh, please. Please
none,
do.
None whatsoever.
Not my fault. Not my fault.
So, the way our live format for this is very different from when we record an episode, like on the field, so to speak. We've asked James to prepare a list of the 5 works of art that most impacted the artist that he is today. And those can be films, they can be poems, they can be a song.
Music,
it can
yeah.
be, anything you want.
You know what's interesting is I feel like that is a harder question than it seems, right? Sure. It's so much harder because I feel like for all of us, like artists or creative people, we are basically a collection of all the things that have inspired us throughout our lives.
Totally.
And so definitely for me, I wasn't able to narrow into like one particular thing, but I can narrow into like one particular artist's body of work.
Great, sure.
Yeah. Would that work?
Yeah, no. Yeah, of course. Yeah, let's do it
Yeah.
like that. So, so who's the first one that came to mind?
I mean, listen, I'm Gen X. So growing up in the 80s and 90s, for me, the biggest artist / filmmaker for me was Steven Spielberg. Yeah. So it's hard for me to, not talk about my inspiration and to talk about my inspiration and not bring up Steven. Just a collection of his body of work. But if I have to kind of put my finger on which of his movies that inspired me the most, that got me the most excited, that actually made me realize, like, oh my God, that there actually was a person behind the film, and the movie wasn't just magic that just came from out of nowhere, was Steven Spielberg. And the movie that inspired me was obviously Jaws. Yes.
Yeah. So, how old were you when you saw Jaws?
I think way too young. Yeah. Truly too young. I don't know, like probably, like
7?
6, 7, 8.
Did you see it in the theater?
No, I wasn't that young.
No.
I'm not that old. I mean, Jaws came out in the early 70s.
They did do
Retrospective, no.
So what were the circumstances in which you saw it?
It's home video.
Yeah.
The
who
VHS movement,
yeah,
right?
Did your parents rent it? Did you?
I cannot remember exactly what.
Yeah.
I think it was with the family, with my grandparents actually, with my uncles and all that. And this would be way back in Malaysia. So I was born in Malaysia. I grew up in Australia, and then I came to the US, obviously, over 20 years ago. But that's how far back it goes. Wow. And I would say the other Steven Spielberg project that really affected me in a big way, I would usually cite this movie as the film that got me into the horror genre, is Poltergeist.
Yeah, big one for me too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think Poltergeist is the movie that I can blame for my creepy doll fascination. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I have a fixation with spooky dolls. Yes.
Why do you think horror resonated for you at that age? Because it doesn't for every kid.
Yeah, it's true.
I don't know. I think I don't know. I just think I blame my parents for letting me watch these movies far too early in my life.
Do you have siblings?
I do. Yes, I do. I have a younger brother and a younger sister. Okay. But yeah, no. I guess I just grew up with a diet of VHS movies. Mm-hmm. Like the schlockier they are, the better. Right, I love old school Roger Corman movies. Yeah. I love Charles Band with Full Moon Production. I'm not necessarily into the highbrow stuff. I love the really back of the VHS store, right? That they hide away in the back shelves. Those are the stuff that I gravitated to, in a big way. Pretty much the stuff that someone like Tarantino would be into as well.
Sure.
Yeah.
So did the movies scare you or did they thrill you? or a bit of both?
Yeah, all of them. I
Yeah.
think
of the
they
above.
really kind of like captured my imagination in all kinds of ways. They scared me, they thrilled me, and I wonder why I feel this way. How can a movie do this to me? It's something that's played on the screen, and and as you get older, you realize that that there's a filmmaking process behind it, that there's artistry behind it, and that this could actually potentially be a job one day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Are you the type of person who do you kind of navel gaze and wonder like what did those stories? What was I working through when I was watching those stories, or was it more just kind of like you were surfing the wave and having a good time?
I think back when I was younger, I definitely just kind of, I was just strictly a consumer, right? It's not till, you grow up, you go to college, you go to film school, you go to art school and all that. I went to art school back in Melbourne, and that was where I met my buddy Lee Winnell.
Oh, right, yeah.
And so, you start to analyze these things. You start to look at it from a, more sort of, like psychoanalytical perspective as to what it is that speaks to you.
Sure.
And so, I try to look at them from both perspectives these days, in the position that I am today.
Yeah.
Was it university that you first realized that you wanted to be a filmmaker, or that was an option for you?
No,
Or were you a teenager thinking about it, watching these movies?
Right, that's a good question. I was 11 years old when I knew that I wanted to be a film director.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah. I think at 11 I realized that that there was, again, like movies are not magic. They didn't just happen on their own, right?
Yeah.
When you're younger, you think that it's just on TVs. That's how it is.
Right.
But once I realized that that the people behind it, I started delving into it. Yeah.
Did you make home movies as a?
Oh
a
yeah,
kid?
yeah, really bad ones. Yeah.
Well, you gotta start somewhere.
You got to start somewhere. Yes, they're not the kind of stuff you ever show to anyone, but they're things that you just play with.
Of course.
Well, we have a little surprise for you. No, just amazing. When was the first time you got your hands on a camera?
Sorry.
When was the first time you got your hands on a camera?
I think I was like maybe 15 or 16. Yeah, like my first sort of like high eight.
Yeah, that sounds
camcorder.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
What'd you make? What was the very first James Wan film?
Well, the one that I have memories of making, I mean, I would shoot sort of home video stuff around the, for the family and stuff, and always, I would, I would make them a bit, I'd make them a little bit more fancy, if you will, than a traditional home video, right? I would put whip pans and jump cuts and all this stuff.
Amazing.
I remember my uncle watching back like, what the hell's happening here? It wasn't like a traditional home video, so I tried to, it was around that period.
James
that
is at it again with his whip pans.
His whip pans. I try to come up with cool transitions into like the next cooking segment with my mom. Yeah, but I think the first narrative thing I made was a creepy clown working in a cabin. I think Evil Dead had a big influence on me at that period.
Yeah.
A creepy clown.
Yes.
In a cabin.
Who played the clown? Who was the actor
clown?
who played the clown?
I think I did it as a stop motion.
Oh, wow. Do you have that still? Do you have any of your old first films?
Yeah, he
I
does.
think my mom has.
Incredible.
I don't have it personally, but
Yeah.
my mom
So
has.
did you build a puppet? Or did
I did a lot of that. I would build like little miniature models, and I would build like little figurines and stuff, like we all do, right?
Sure.
No, we don't all do that.
I mean, that's the stuff that I was into, and so, I would have to do it myself, and it was the best way to learn. And I would say the Billy puppet from Saw that is in the final movie, I built that.
Wow.
That was something I made back in Melbourne, Australia, in my apartment that I made for the short film. So I made a little 5-minute short that accompanied the script that Lee and I sent out around town.
Oh, as a proof of concept.
As a proof of concept,
Oh, that's
yes.
so brilliant.
And so the funny thing that Lee and I would like to tell is about this particular story is we thought, when we get to Hollywood and we get to make the proper, big feature film version, the big Hollywood version. They're going to bring in animatronics, proper special effects people to do it. But the producers were like, no, just use that one that you already have. They're like, this is a low budget film. We can't afford to build that from scratch. So,
Do you remember what the clown looked like that you made?
From the short?
From the short, yeah, sorry, I'm back
do
on
I
the
remember?
short.
I don't know. Just kind of made from pop sticks and figurines and clay.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's dead by now.
Yeah.
They don't last very long.
Yeah, no.
So what's the story of that short? How much do you remember about it?
Oh, goodness. I don't remember, really. I
Yeah,
don't remember,
yeah,
yes.
Got it. Okay.
Come on, Daniel. I've buried it in the recess of my mind.
You buried it, yeah. Okay. I won't keep digging. All right. So at what point? Tell us at what point in the chronology you relocated from Malaysia. So,
yeah.
but
I was
maybe we're
about-
not there yet. I don't.
I was around 8 years old. My family
Okay.
moved to.
So we're already there. We're already in Australia now. At this
oh
point.
yeah. This is in Australia.
Yeah. What was that move like for you? How old were you?
I was 8. We moved because I already had family in Australia, so we moved to Australia. Just growing up there, it was pretty cool. But like as any immigrant, you have to learn to sort of assimilate, kind of find your way in this new world, and so I truly do believe that's a big part of the reason why I fell in love with movies, because I felt like watching movies or movies in general was such an international language that it doesn't matter where you're from in the world. Like, it's the one thing that we can all kind of agree on, right? And so I think, growing up, kind of being a bit, kind of not distant, but not quite fitting in early on in my childhood, meant that I really found solace in movies.
Yeah. All right. So what's your second touchdown after Spielberg?
Early on, I would say The Terminator. So definitely James Cameron is another sort of filmmaker who had a huge impact on me. But definitely more specifically what he did with The Terminator. I admire, it's a horror film, really.
It totally is, yeah.
It's an outright horror movie, super low budget film, but just very inventive, very creative. And so that was one of those films that I just analyzed, again, back in the VHS days, pause, and then you have you have to kind of start it through it. And I try to learn how it was kind of edited, put together.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And how old were you when you saw Terminator? When did that come out? I don't remember.
I think I saw that maybe when I was maybe 9 or 10.
Yeah.
85 was it? Or was it maybe earlier?
I bet someone here knows.
Terminator was 87, I think.
Okay.
87. Okay, yeah. I presume you've met Spielberg and Cameron at this point?
I have not.
What?
You're kidding
I have
me.
not met any of my idols.
Whoa.
Because
I'm surprised by
I'm a firm believer in the don't meet your idols.
Oh, I'm afraid that's
Because
true.
they'll turn out to be assholes.
But have you ever met an idol of yours and that was the case? Which sort of put you off?
That
No, you don't have to name names.
I have met people that I admire and that I look up to and that I love that have turned out to be, really cool people.
Really cool?
Cool
or
people.
Cruel?
Great people.
Great people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Not cruel.
Yeah.
Did you think I said cruel?
I wasn't sure.
No,
Yeah.
I said cool. You've been one of them, Elijah.
Oh, stop it, James.
No.
Stop it,
No,
stop it.
seriously. I love you, man. It's sort of this is such a pleasure to be here.
Stop.
To be here, having this chat with you guys. I mean,
my
it's
God.
amazing. No, it's true. Another hero of mine is Peter Jackson.
Yeah.
Have you
Peter
not,
Jackson.
Have you not
I
met
have
Peter?
not met Peter Jackson either.
Wow.
Okay, one thing I will say is I know I'm here talking about this, doing other stuff. I'm quite a recluse. I don't go out much. I don't do anything social. I just make my movies, and I just put my head down, make my movies, and I just shut up, and I just do my thing.
That's very like Peter, by the way.
Yes, that's why
And your beginnings are quite like Peter's as well.
Yes.
At home, sort of solitary, making things, building things, models, trying things out with cameras. I mean, all of that is very similar to Peter Jackson, and many other filmmakers got their start that way.
definitely, yeah.
Raimi too. I mean, you know,
Yeah, I mean,
there's another, I'm sure,
the-
hero of yours.
Peter and Raimi are definitely like in the list of the 5. It's actually
You've not
more.
met Raimi either?
I have met Raimi.
You've met
Yes,
Raimi,
yes.
okay,
I've met Sam.
If only
Sweet,
you
sweet
knew
guy.
someone who knew Peter Jackson.
Well, no, I mean, the reason why, again, Lee Whannell and myself really idolized Peter growing up is, Peter was making the kind of movies that we loved, that we aspired to, and he was just doing that across the pond from us, right? In New Zealand, from Australia, and so we've always idolized Peter from that perspective. He was making the kind of stuff that we wanted to make. Yeah.
It was an amazing thing. Like when we started our company in, I guess our first year here was 2014.
2013, I think.
2013.
What was it?
2014. Yeah. And and you kind of like suddenly you get to an opportunity to meet a lot of your idols. And I don't think he would mind if I told this story about John Landis, but like we met John Landis, and then and we exchanged numbers, and then I remember one time like, oh my God, John Landis is calling me. This is like amazing, and we spoke for like an hour, or he spoke for an hour.
That sounds more like it.
Yeah, and I ate up every word of it.
He likes
yeah,
to talk.
And then a couple days
He
later,
loves to talk.
He does.
likes
And
to
a
talk,
great
yeah.
storyteller,
Yeah,
too.
it was like, holy shit, he's calling me again, right? And then we spoke. He spoke for an hour, right? And then the third day, I was like, Jesus, it's John Landis again. I love John Landis. He's amazing. Yeah.
Can I ask, what did you guys talk about?
Well, he talked about.
Sorry, what did he?
I mean, this is a long time ago, but I think
We say this with love and reverence.
love. Yeah,
John
I
is
mean,
the
we
greatest.
consider him a friend. I think it's. I think like when you're of that generation, it's really exciting to connect with a filmmaker from the next generation who knows your work. And I think it was a lot of like the way things worked when he was, when he was young and he was new on the scene.
Right.
Certainly some gripes about the changes in the industry, all of which I shared with him.
Right.
And then we eventually had him on this podcast,
that's
which
great.
which
We
I
went
had
to
to
his
talk
house.
him into like. He kept saying, no, I don't do that stuff, I don't do that stuff. I remember I said, we won't ask about Twilight Zone, and he said, you can't. But yeah, no, I mean, he's a very generous guy, it was just a
He
lot of
has a
amazing
lot of great
stories.
stories, that's for sure, yeah.
Yeah, and we spent time with Friedkin during that period,
Oh my
which was
God.
amazing.
That's amazing.
Who was a lot of people were scared of, but we found him like the kindest, most generous.
Very sweet.
Well, you guys are talking to him, like from a fan perspective, right? And you guys have such respect for their work. I'm sure they'll love to talk to you guys about that and just share the
Dante
insight.
and I mean,
Yeah.
it's just, these are our heroes. They're the reason we're here.
That's right.
Is
Yep.
the work they did.
I'm curious how much Australian exploitation movies played into your upbringing too, because there's a pretty rich history from the
Yes.
70s on of George Miller obviously being one who really broke
yeah.
out of that scene,
Yeah.
but so many extraordinary filmmakers doing a sort of DIY thing in Australia.
Yeah, and especially now, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's so many brand new filmmakers that are breaking out, doing really incredible things. But back in the days, it's
Was
hard
there
to.
not much of a scene in the 90s?
Well, it's just very different. Like the kind of genre that we don't really make the kind of genre films that that America makes, so to speak. But definitely. George Miller, is a big idol of ours, because we're such huge fans of what he has done and with what he has done for the Australian film industry as well, with the whole Mad Max series, obviously, and then all the other great movies that he's made since then. But moving from George into the more kind of like the more obscure ones, if you will, I'm a huge fan of Razorback.
Well, I've never seen that.
Razorback.
Razorback.
Yes,
Russell Mulcahy.
I had the poster for that in my
Seriously?
room as a kid.
Yeah. Razorback is the it's basically a Jaws ripoff, right? It's about
what is the animal?
It's a killer pig. It's a killer pig.
I've seen that poster. I know the poster.
It's a giant
Yes.
killer pig movie set in the outback of Australia.
Yes.
It's fantastic. It's truly brilliant. It's directed by Russell Mulcahy, who actually is another one of my heroes as well. I don't know if I'm sure you guys know Russell. Russell Mulcahy went on to be a massive director in the MTV, the music video generation.
Oh, right, okay.
He created like all the great music videos. Like he did. Total Eclipse of the Heart. Yeah, he did all the great Duran Duran music videos.
Oh my God.
Huge. Like he is the reason. I think the very first music video. And please don't quote me on this. I could be wrong, but I think the very first music video they played on MTV when MTV started was his, which was Video Killed the Radio Star.
Yeah, the very first music video.
The very first music video and
Yeah.
the very last music video they played before MTV shut down.
That's
It
right.
was just now, right?
Which was just recently. Yeah.
There is nuance to that. It shut down in the UK and the rest of the world, but it still exists in the US.
I think it just shuttered.
For reals?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
There was
Okay.
there was a big,
All right.
there was a lot of press about like MTV
yes,
is done.
fine closing.
Like,
yeah,
it's like-
huge movement for us, right? Growing up,
So crazy.
I know it's time to move on, I guess.
Oh,
So sad. I mean, could not be, like with what's going on as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why I had the Razorback poster. I was just telling him, I was home for the holidays and my parents were like, you have to get all this shit out of the basement. And so I went down and
You had a teenage dream's worth of stuff.
it was all my posters that I hadn't looked at probably since I left for NYU.
So you lived in the basement. That was your little. that was your little teenage man cave back in the
They were
day.
like, what
I
they
love a
meant was,
basement.
you need to move out of our basement, Stanley. Yeah. No, it's in storage. And so like I pulled out all these posters and I made this collage and I took a picture and sent it to him. But I was like, this is a map of my emotional life. And it was like everything from like Tears for Fears posters to Toxic Avenger. But I realized like I have all these posters that are really valuable. Like I have the original Back to the Future and Goonies and
That's really cool in terms of looking at your posters and seeing how that chart your emotional growth.
Absolutely.
Right?
Exactly.
And that was a big thing. Like, I think, because I'm also Gen X, and it's really hard to wrap your head around today how hard it was for us to get access to media then.
Oh, yeah.
So like if there was
you had to seek it out.
you had to
big
seek
time.
it out. And if you loved a movie, you would go, I don't know about you, I would see it over and over again in the theater because you knew that when it left, it was years before
Yeah,
you could see it
that's
again.
right.
What I did was I started smuggling a cassette recorder in and I would tape the movies.
On audio tape.
I've not
You
been
still
able
have
to,
them?
I
Wait,
can't find
you,
them.
You tape the audio cassette?
I would make an audio recording of the
that's-
movies and then
that's
I would go
weird,
home
man.
and I would, what's that?
That's weird. I said. So wait. So you go back home, play back the audio
Yes.
cassette, and relive the movie through the audio.
I have to
I
tell you
love that so much.
that I think it's a
That's
big
cool
part of why I'm
and
so
weird.
obsessed with sound is that I still remember my favorite one was Silence of the Lambs, which came out when I was in high school, and I remember I would play Silence of the Lambs. I would be like, I'm going to go listen to Silence of the Lambs, and I became so aware of the sound design. Like when she
Yeah.
goes into the prison, you're
Yes.
like, there's like this buzz, and it's stuff that you don't think about when you're watching because you're so distracted by
divorced of the-
image is
of the
very
photography.
greedy to your attention.
Right.
But I've often said I actually believe sound is more impactful, and
I completely agree. From
Yeah.
a horror movie perspective,
Certainly.
absolutely,
I
yeah.
totally agree.
Yeah.
Like, I've always said, the most important thing in a horror film is having a great sound design because we've seen it time and time again. Movies like The Blair Witch Project and even Paranormal Activity. What makes those movies scary is the sound design because you don't see a lot of it on screen.
Well, you're so good at that, and not to embarrass you, but we talk a lot about as horror fans. It's I very rarely get scared in a movie. Your movie scared the shit out of me. I tried to watch The Conjuring the other night. I literally had to turn it off. I was like, I can't deal with this right now. I'm too nervous. But
I feel that way about Insidious as well.
Same about
It
Insidious,
genuinely
yeah.
scared me.
But
Oh, wow, thank you.
Which is a hard thing to do.
It's
I'm
very hard,
desensitized.
yeah. And so many films, and getting back to the sound thing, they just assault you. You use silence in a way that is devastating. Devastating. Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the power of sound design. I think the key is knowing what to use, when to use and when not to use them. That's the key, yeah.
Yeah, because you can obviously overuse sound.
Oh, yes. And that is my biggest complaint with a lot of horror movies today that I see is just the overuse of sound design. And the overpowering of the soundtrack with the music and the sound design. I'm like, guys, we just dial that back.
I completely
so much
agree.
creepier.
Yeah, I completely agree.
The thing we were just talking about the other day, that there's like this sort of this confusing trend where you don't know what's meant to be on the score and what's meant to be in sound in the reality of the story.
Right. So you're questioning what is organic to the experience of the characters, what they're hearing versus what is layered over the top.
Right.
And I find that
It's very problematic.
it's quite problematic.
Yes. So you don't know what is actually within the environment. If they're hearing the pipes creaking, or if that's the soundtrack that the audience is supposed to.
I can't tell you how many times I'm in a horror film and where it's all about like the characters are listening, and I'm like, turn off the fucking music. I can't hear what they hear. Like,
No,
like,
agree.
It's
No, I definitely agree. Yeah. And that's when sound mixing plays such a big part in it. You gotta know when to dial
my
it
favorite
down.
part of the process.
Yeah, and there's so much art to sound mixing, which is why like they have a category for sound mixing at the Oscars, right?
Yeah.
A really well mixed sound movie makes a big difference in your theatrical experience because you need to know, for example, what you were just saying from a technical standpoint. If you want the audience to go, oh, this is just music, right, and not part of the soundtrack within the world that the actors are inhabiting. So you can do things like you throw the music or the sound design into the background, right? You just do stuff like you throw it into the surround, so it's not so over, powering, and you keep the thing that the characters are hearing to the front of the screen. So like we got surround sound and like 12.1 or whatever it is that we have these days, right? And so you got to know how to use that to, you got to know there's so much craft to it. Yeah. And so,
didn't they just change the Oscar category? Like they combined, it used to be sound mixing and sound editing, and now it's just sound design, I think.
I think you might be right.
Yeah, and sorry to be a grumpy old man, but here's my complaint about, is that what always wins sound is whatever's the loudest movie.
Yeah.
I don't feel like the Academy really understands what sound design is.
I
It's also about nuance,
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah. Yes, there's a lot
It's
of
like
nuances.
they go, I can hear it, I'm voting for it.
Yeah. I mean, my biggest issue with the Oscars, just in general, is it's a popularity contest. It's whoever's the most popular, they win. It doesn't mean it's good or great. So,
I won't say who this is, but when I was in college, one of my mentors, whom I worshipped, he was in the Academy. And I'll never forget, I was hanging out with him in his house, and he slid his ballot across to me. And he said, fill that out for me. And I said, how do you want me to pick? And he said, what's everybody voting for?
Oh, that's so depressing.
Heart
That
broke.
is
Yeah. And then well, no, I'm going to stop. Okay. About to say something I regret. Okay.
Are we on to number 3?
Daniel, it's just between us. It's okay. It's just, what happens in this room stays in this room, okay?
F it, it's the last one.
Oh, gosh, time's pretty. Okay, so what's number 3?
Oh, we only at number 3.
Yeah, I know. We want to pick up the pace. Yeah.
I mean, I guess I Peter Jackson and Sam Raimi kind of put in that category as well. I definitely I love those guys. I mean, I would say I want to move away from movies in general.
Great.
I'm a big fan of the Renaissance movement in terms of just visual art. My movies are very driven by the visual. Besides sound, we talked about sound, but obviously the look of it is very important for me. And I'm a big fan of what we learned from the Renaissance period of lighting. When I look for a cinematographer, a director of photography, the thing that I look for is not, I don't care who they are. I just want to know how good they are with lighting. So lighting is my number one thing that I go for. And a lot of that has to do with just that particular art movement, and I try to kind of capture the sense of that. Yeah.
So is there a particular element of the lighting in Renaissance
Yeah,
painting
yeah,
that-
just like, usually they tend to be, like single source lighting, like where it's just like one direction, everything else will just fall off into black.
I love those sorts of
blackness, sorry?
I love those sorts of paintings.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, and I try to kind of do that with my horror film, but I try to do it in a way, like the Insidious films, because it takes place in the real world, and then it takes place more in a fantasy world. And so, like, I approach the lighting differently in the two worlds to kind of differentiate them between, because we go in and out of those worlds. So in the real world, again, I try to use as much natural light as I can, but in the fantasy world, I try to, go with the one light source. And one light source could literally just be an actor holding up a lantern, and that is it. And let everything else fall off into blackness. And I try to, and that's what I kind of do. That's my thing with all the films I make, except for the more poppy, 4-quadrant ones that
I don't think
Where
anybody
you're
held
not
a lantern
allowed
in
to
the
do
Fast
that.
and the
Well,
Furious.
yeah, Fast and Furious. Yeah, again, Neil Moritz come up to me, and goes, James, I cannot see my actors. Turn up the lights. But for the movies where I instigate and I have total control over them, that's kind of what I go for.
When you're making technical decisions about how to create a sense of fear, what are you referencing?
Myself.
What scares you?
I really use myself as a yardstick. People would say to me, "Oh man, you make a lot of scary movies. You must not be afraid of anything." I'm like the opposite. Yeah. I'm afraid of everything. Oh, wow. I'm scared of ghosts. I'm scared of like the supernatural. I believe in this. It's in my Asian culture, my Malaysian Chinese culture. Growing up, I grew up with a lot of superstitious stories and stuff. And so I'm a pretty superstitious guy, and so that's what I try to do. And I hear someone like M. Night Shyamalan, who kind of grew up culturally, in a similar space, and he has said, like he pulls from a lot of his heritage, and then for myself, I try to do that, and I try to then go, how do I apply that through my filmmaking? So, like the things that scare you guys, and let's say Insidious or The Conjuring, I try to look at it, I try to remember what it was that scared me about certain things. And a lot of my scare scenes are actually based on either, stuff that I've either experienced or I've heard, ghost stories been told to me throughout my life.
Oh, wow.
And I try to put them on screen.
That's incredible. Have you had any paranormal experiences yourself?
No, not really, thank God.
So just
Because I think I would shit myself for real. If they happened in the real world, I think I'll be terrified.
wow.
Yeah.
But a lot of collected stories passed down.
And just like in my head, I guess. Yeah, and
Sure.
I try to share with the world the things that scare me.
That's amazing.
I think that's true of a lot of genre filmmakers. I mean, it's where the authenticity comes from. Like Val Lewton, who's one of my personal heroes, who made Cat People and I Walk with a Zombie. He was a fervent believer in the supernatural, and you can feel it in his films. Spielberg, UFOs are a very serious subject to him, and you can feel it in those films. So that's really interesting to hear.
Yes. Yeah. No, I'm definitely a believer and a big fan of Val Lewton as well.
Yeah. Boy. You seem to, I know you talk about dolls, you also seem to gravitate toward houses.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because I find that to be, one of the things I think that my work resonate in the way it does is because I try to kind of ground them in reality, and there's nothing more real than homes, right? We all have homes. Doesn't matter where in the world you're from. We all live in a house of some sort.
Not everyone.
Some people live in their mom's basement still. But I feel like
Can you make that movie next?
that's a horror movie in itself for your parents. I mean, no. But no, I try to find things that people can relate to because I think that is the key, right? To have a setup that we can all kind of relate to, and again, coming back to Poltergeist, Poltergeist I think was basically the first haunted house movie that did not take place in a classic Gothic mansion.
Right, it was a suburban.
It was in suburbia. That's
Yeah.
right. It was like a normal home that we kind of all grew up in, like in the 80s and 90s, right? And so that stuck with me. And I feel like, setting them in a world where people can understand immediately, the audience go, I get that. And it doesn't have to be ghosts. Like a classic home invasion is terrifying. And it's terrifying today to know that someone can just come into your house and pull you away, right? So I try to find things in the real world, and even if I'm making movies that are fantastical, that are supernatural, I truly try and find something that we can all relate to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as I said, Poltergeist was a big one for me too. In fact, it created years of night terrors.
I was going to say you were really traumatized.
Traumatized, yeah. But when I've gone back and looked at it as an adult to try and understand why, one of the things that's so unique about that as a haunted house story or as a haunted house film is just the simple device of they can't leave because their daughter is trapped in the house. This is the question is always, why don't they leave, right? And you come up with different reasons. Well, they can't afford it, or they can't. But this one of the things that I find so particularly chilling about Poltergeist is the idea of living with the haunting for a prolonged period of time. Yeah. It's the normalization of the haunting in Poltergeist that I find the most disturbing. Right. The scene that always gets me most is when she's doing the laundry.
Yes.
To get to your point about hating you where you live, is like where she's carrying that basket of laundry and the room is quiet and she cracks the door and the monster yells at her and it's not the yell, it's the laundry.
Right.
Right? That gets you. Because you can almost smell that laundry and how safe that feels.
Yeah. The safety is broken.
It's broken. Yeah.
Yeah, no, listen, for most of us, I think we all we either know someone or we've been through the experience of like growing up in a spooky house, right? Usually, for the most part, they're not harmful, right? They're pretty benevolent for the most part, right? They essentially lost souls, I guess, that are kind of trapped in a loop and they cannot move on, and so they're not evil. And so you live with them, and sometimes you just got to tell them to stop making a noise, stop knocking on the door, stop rocking that chair, and just live together.
Yeah. All right, 4.
Easier for some people, I think. Yeah. What's number 4?
Oh goodness. I'm a big comic book fan. So when I was growing up in my teen years, I don't read them as much these days. I'm too busy to get into that. So just again, I learn a lot from just, learning from comics, comic books, from manga, from anime, from all this stuff that kind of shape who I am today, just from a visual standpoint. So like, you learn about shot framing, you learn about, what I find, what's so great about comic book is the economy of storytelling in only a short amount of panels that you have to tell the story, right? So it's not like you have, like massive thick comic book of whatever, many pages, as many pages you want. You got to tell the story, the most succinct story. You got to get the idea across in a short amount of time, and I think that really, that helped me understand the economy of storytelling, the succinctness of storytelling, and how to sort of like focus on the importance of storytelling.
Did you ever make comics, like draw comics?
I did.
You did.
Yes.
I knew it.
I drew a lot when I was young. So drawing, making models and miniature. I was very much a visual art kid.
Do you storyboard? Or did you ever storyboard your own films?
I do. I storyboarded my earlier movies when I couldn't afford storyboard artists.
Sure.
So I storyboarded Saw. I storyboarded my second movie, Dead Silence.
Yeah.
But then I could also then hire other storyboard artists. So what I do is I still like to draw it, kind of lay it out roughly, and then I give it to a professional to make it look prettier and do it better, basically. Yes.
What were your comics that you made? Were they horror stories or superheroes?
I think I played in all of them. Yeah, I played, a little bit of horror, a little bit of superhero, and a little bit of indie. I grew up in the 90s where there was just a big movement of indie comics, like Ghost World, like The Crow, just like all these indie stuff that,
What was that wonderful?
And Frank Miller.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and so yes.
Black Hole? Was that?
Black Hole.
Black Hole, yeah. Well, that was a bit later, but yeah, brilliant.
Incredible.
Yeah, which James Brown is
That's right.
directing. Yeah,
That's right.
Perfect.
I know.
Who was your superhero?
What do you mean?
You made a superhero. You're not leaving the
Oh.
stage without telling us the name and the
Yeah,
power.
Did you create a superhero of your own?
I think it was like a team superhero. I cannot remember what it was. Sorry,
Really?
I cannot remember. That's how bad it was. Like I've kind of, this was like grade 7. I don't know what that is in the U.S. Grade 7. That might be.
Grade 7.
Grade 7.
Yeah, year 7
Middle
for us.
school. Middle
Middle
school.
school. Yeah, that would be middle school. Yes.
Yeah. When did you meet Lee Wanell?
I met Lee at university, at RMIT, the Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology. Not to be confused with MIT, because a lot of people go, "Oh, you guys went to MIT?" No, we're not that smart to go to MIT. No. We went to basically an art school, and we studied the media arts program at RMIT, which we were very thankful to the school because they pretty much just let us do whatever we wanted. It was a media course, so we studied film literature, we studied video making, animation, multimedia, and sound design, and so we learned the whole spectrum of just media, I
And
guess.
practical skills too.
And
you know?
and practical skills, and and we just that's where Lee and I met, and we found that we shared very similar interest, and I think we were 17 at the time.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
that's incredible.
Yes. Known each other for a long time.
Were there things that you had conceived of before Saw? Was Saw the first thing that you?
No,
guys
we
were-
had a lot of other stuff that just, we played with a lot of things.
Okay.
Yes. One of them I want to bring up that I'll mention this room was called the Tax Man. Oh no, the Debt Collector.
The Debt
Collector. Yeah,
Collector.
we wanted to make like a classic, like a small little slasher movie, The Debt Collector, about a killer tax man from hell.
What is he collecting?
Souls.
Yes, that's right.
It came to Earth to collect souls.
Not too late. It's not too
That's fantastic.
Still trying to pitch that now.
And Lee's here. We were just
Yeah,
learned.
Lee is here.
Yes, yes.
I'm so excited to see that film later with the two of
Yeah.
you. That'll be awesome.
All right, number
Number
five.
Number 5, again, it's more of a broad stroke. I grew up with a lot of Asian cinema.
Cool.
And so I know it's a very broad one, but Asian cinema from Asian horror films to Asian, like Hong Kong movies. Growing up, Hong Kong movies were a huge part of my movie consumption, my diet. Like growing up with John Woo, growing up with Chow Yun-fat, growing up with Jackie Chan, just all those guys. So that was the other big part of my cinema diet.
Yeah. Well, we're almost out of time.
out of time?
I think, as we wrap up, I just want to talk about Sundance for a minute.
Yes, please.
Do you, not to put you on the spot, but if there's like is there a kind of a special moment or memory from your time here with Saw that immediately jumps to mind as something really precious that lives in that snow globe?
Oh yeah, I mean, really, the screening of Saw, the premiering of Saw that night at the Egyptian, it was the first time we've really played the movie for an audience, like an actual paying audience, and getting to introduce the movie. it was truly an incredible experience. I mean, even though we were nervous as hell, but to be here, showing the movie, premiering the movie for the first time, it was a dream come true. This was something that Lee and I have dreamt about like our whole life, and to finally be to get the chance to do it, we could not be any more thankful, and definitely very, very grateful and thankful to Sundance for allowing us that opportunity. Yeah.
Well, as the last Cinema Café, which is unbelievable, I think I just want to stop and just say thank you.
Yeah,
thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to this. I really appreciate it. I'm super honored to be here.
Thank you for everything you've done here at Cinema Café, and it's the end of an era and the beginning of a new one. You're amazing, and thank you, Sundance. Thank you, Glenn. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.